Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is The Tenacious Teacher, and today I thought I would start a mini series about how to plan a wedding. So I haven't decided if I'm going to name it How to Plan a Wedding 101 or Planning a Wedding 101. Regardless, this is a wedding planning series. So as many of you know, about a year and a half ago, my fiance and I got engaged. And man, has it been a year and a half. We have been engaged for a very long time, and we are super excited that we are getting married on July 4th, which is in a little over 2 weeks. So I thought I would give you a little bit of insight into what the wedding planning process looked like. I planned most of it with the help of my fiance. Honestly, we planned all of it. We did it all together. So we do have a day of coordinator, but the day of coordinator just takes the vendors that we found and they make sure they have their shit together so that when we get married on July 4th, we don't have any day of mishaps. So I have my MacBook in front of me with some notes on it about things that I think you would benefit from. And I also have a coffee here that I'll be occasionally taking a sip from. So sit back, relax, and enjoy these 5 tips to get started with your wedding planning. My first tip is to look at wedding venues prior to setting your budget. Obviously, when you first get engaged, you want to bask in the time of being a newly engaged couple, maybe have an engagement party, or just really enjoy that time and really take time to soak in that feeling because, you only get it once. After the honeymoon period of being engaged is over, it's time to get down to business. Something that I did is I researched venues in my area prior to setting our budget. I think that's important because you kind of want to get a feel for how much each venue is going to be, whether they include catering, etc., before you decide you're only going to spend X amount of money. I think this is important too because you kind of get to get a feel of the pricing in your area. Everywhere you go, wedding venue prices will vary. Obviously, if you are in a larger city like we are, wedding venues are going to be more expensive. However, if you look a little bit outside of the city, maybe into more rural areas, you will find that a lot of the venues go down in price. So my first tip is to look at wedding venues first. Decide what you like, where you want to go. If you think that your initial idea of a budget is too small, or if you think that you could go up a little bit in budget, and then pick a venue and then set your budget based off of the venue that you choose. My second tip is Pinterest. Obviously, Pinterest is an amazing place to get ideas for recipes, for workouts, and for planning a wedding. If you were like me, you did not have a wedding Pinterest board prior to getting engaged. A lot of women these days have Pinterest boards full of ideas of things they want to include in their wedding or ideas that they have with decor and rituals or, different activities they want to have happen during their wedding. I was not like that. I didn't have any Pinterest boards, so I was really starting from scratch. I do recommend that if you do have Pinterest boards, to start from scratch after you get engaged and choose your venue. Because depending on what your venue is, you may decide that some of the previous decorations or ideas that you had don't really match. And not to mention, Pinterest is always updating. So an idea that you liked from years ago could have been improved upon. You are also updating. You're also changing your likes and dislikes. So an idea that you liked a couple years ago, you may not like anymore. So regardless of whether you had a Pinterest board full of wedding ideas or you're like me and you didn't have any Pinterest boards, I do recommend starting from scratch and using Pinterest for everything. Pinterest even has like a list of different things to do leading up to your wedding. They have it outlined by month. They have it outlined by priority. They have like a week of to-do list for brides and grooms. And I think that that's really beneficial because I've noticed that looking at those checklists, there were a lot of small things that I probably would have forgotten if I hadn't found those checklists on Pinterest. So use Pinterest as your best friend. Download it on your cell phone, download it on your tablet or iPad, have it bookmarked on your computer. Use Pinterest. It is so helpful and they can give you so many ideas of different things that you can do for your wedding. My third tip also deals with social media, and that is to join a local Facebook group for brides or just for women. So where I'm from, and maybe they have this in your area as well, there is a Facebook group called the Girl Tribe Community. And I have been on that Facebook group for a couple of years now, and it has been so helpful. I found a lot of our vendors through this Facebook group. So I would literally go on and say, hey ladies, I'm looking for a wedding venue in or around this area. I have this price range that I'm looking for, but I'm willing to go above or below. If you have gotten married or you know someone who has gotten married at a venue that you love, please leave it down in the comments below. Thank you in advance for all of your help. Simple as that. And I got so many messages and comments. I literally had like 50 venues that I wrote down, got their contact information from, went online. And after you get your recommendations, then you can go online, and obviously there are pictures of the venue online, and you can quickly decide, yes, I want to see this venue in person, or no, I don't want to see this venue in person. So I loved using that Facebook group to get recommendations, because even if there was a place that someone recommended and then there was another person who had been there before, they would like it, or they would say, I agree with so-and-so. And that really motivated me a little bit more to check that place out, because it was highly recommended. Like more than one person liked it. So use those Facebook groups, join them if you aren't on it yet. Start commenting on other posts that people have, because something else that I found is that if you comment on other people's stuff, your post will come up higher in the feed and as a priority for people, because you are an active member of that Facebook group. Also join bridal Facebook groups. There's a group called Bridal Yard Sale that I have joined. I haven't used it that much, but a lot of times brides will go up there and sell some decor that they use for their wedding and they no longer have a use for. So that is really important, and it's really helpful because you can get a lot of things for a lot cheaper than you would if you bought them on your own. My fourth tip is to recruit the opinions of your family and your bridesmaids only. This is hard because you want to include your family members. You want to make sure that, all of your friends, even if they aren't in your bridal party, have a say in your wedding day. But it can get really overwhelming if either people who've already been married have an opinion, or people who haven't even been married yet have an opinion. I would say to only ask the people who you trust and they will obviously listen to what you like, but then also suggest some alternatives to kind of mix it up a little bit. If you use the Facebook group tip from number 3, then you obviously will have recruited input from people outside of your family and bridal party. But for that tip, I wanted you to specifically look for vendors using them. Maybe not opinions on bridesmaids dresses or your wedding gown, just vendors, recommendations of people who have tried the vendors and liked them. This tip for number 4 is to get the opinions of bridesmaids dresses, accessories, decor, things like that, where you really have a lot to choose from, and it can be super overwhelming. Take it from someone who knows. and you really want to make sure that you get the opinion of someone who has your best interest at heart. They're not too critical, and they also know that this is your day. And even if you make a decision that they don't like, at least you recruited their input and they will feel very special for that. My fifth and final tip is to book vendors early. I cannot stress how important this is for multiple reasons. The first reason why booking vendors early is important is because a lot of vendors will get booked up a full year in advance. For example, we booked our wedding venue in January of 2019 for May of 2020. We didn't go into the wedding venue tour knowing that we were going to book our venue that day, but it just so happened, and we were able to get the date. Actually, we were able to get the second date we wanted. The first date we wanted was already taken. So that just goes to show how far in advance people plan weddings and how far in advance vendors can get booked. So book them as soon as you can. The second reason why it is important to book vendors early is so that you can set up payment plans. I mean, if you got it like that and you can pay for everything at one time, good for you. But homegirl over here, no, that was not the case. We really benefited from payment plans because it made it manageable for us. We were able to put it into our budget, know that we have to set aside X amount of money each month to go towards the photographer or go towards the venue or the florist. So please make sure that you book early so that you have that option to make payment plans. And the payment plans were really helpful because you also got to make sure that everything was paid off before the wedding. I think we have maybe 1 or 2 payments due on the actual wedding day, which is fine because the majority of the payments are done. So book your vendors out as early as possible because they fill up quick and you can do payment plans if you would like. All right, so those are my 5 tips on getting started with wedding planning. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will be back soon with my next video in the Planning a Wedding 101 series.